Hi there, Nancy Mueller with another Life is All About Choices. And if you are looking for some empowering information, something to lift your spirits, something to make you feel like, oh my gosh, I really needed to hear that today, then you are in the right place. I am very, very excited to share my guest with you today. Her name is Birgitte. And before we go any farther, Birgitte, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nancy. It's such an honor and a delight to be able to be with you today.
And as you and I were talking off camera, we were talking about how you and I scheduled this particular interview or this conversation 3 times. We had to reschedule, we scheduled. And based on how we both know the way the universe works, this conversation was meant to happen today.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it was an interesting thing. So like you said, we scheduled it and then the fire came and I had to reschedule and then the storm came and then we got to reschedule. And at the same time, to me, it's like, okay, you've been through the fire and you've been through the storm.
Yes.
And this is a different kind of storm, so to say, in everybody's life. And
yes.
At the same time, we know that we're going to get through it too.
Absolutely. And I think that's why this is such a powerful day for us to get together and have this beautiful conversation. So before we go any farther, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and why you're so fabulous?
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much. So I'm Birgitte Tan, and I live close to Los Angeles, north of Los Angeles, California, United States. And what I do is I am a speaker, author, and coach in grief recovery and life success. And what make me so fabulous? Well, actually, I would say there are 3 things that make me so fabulous.
Yay, awesome. 3, I love it.
3 things that make me so fabulous. The first things actually is because, because I'm human, just like you. You
Yes.
are fabulous, and all of our audience, and actually just being a living thing is fabulous. Everybody is fabulous in their own different and unique way. So that's the first thing. So I am so fabulous because I'm living things just like you all and all our audience, and the fabulous flower and my fabulous cats. And so and then the second thing that make me I would say in my so fabulous is because I truly care and I pour love into everything that I do. And I think that's just so important. The other thing that I do, my original background is I'm a doctor. I'm a veterinarian oncologist. And if you've been to a doctor who is very smart, very knowledgeable, but couldn't care a bit, you can feel it.
Yes.
Versus somebody who is a good doctor, for instance, and they truly, truly care, you can feel it too. And
right.
So I see myself, I endeavor to do the very best I can. I truly care and I pour love into everything that I do. And then the other thing is because I learned to transform tragedies, traumas into something much greater and much better, to transform tragedy and trauma into treasures, and doing that with a lot of ease and a lot of fun, actually. And that's come from my life experience in the last decade or so.
I love that. I just wrote that down, trauma into treasures. I've never heard it put that way. Usually I refer to it as going beyond your story, because when we've experienced a trauma, then that, of course, that energy sits in our body, and then we have feelings and emotions based on the trauma, and we keep revisiting those feelings and emotions, and then we create a story around those feelings and emotions. So I'm really a big proponent of helping people see, let's look at the story, let's look at the feelings and emotions around the story, and then let's go beyond the story. But I have to say, I really love the way that you word that. turn your trauma into treasures. That's fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you.
I really love that. So tell us, what was it that got you to be where you are? What was the catalyst for you? What was the dark night of your soul that shifted things for you?
So the dark night of my souls happened in 2011. It started actually, not just happened. It started in 2011 when, to me, it seems to be out of the blue divorce. In my perceptions back then, I was in a perfect marriage, and then my former husband seemingly out of the blue just saying he wants to get a divorce. And that actually only the beginning of things. That event opened a Pandora box of about 8 other grief events, all happened in 2 years. And at the end of that 2 years, I was in so much pain that I wish I could just die. Mm-hmm. But I didn't die. And after a little time, I decided that if I have to stay alive back then I'm going to thrive, not just survive. Yes. That I'm going to do so well and do that easily and with fun. And so that's when I started my journey into grief recovery and personal development. And in just a matter of 2-3 years, I look back and I have gone from broke, heartbroken, sick all the time, miserable all the time, to living a wonderful life with peace of mind, joy, health, better health than ever, abundance, and lots of love. And then that's when I realized that I've been given a great gift, 2 gifts actually. The first one is the skill and the ability to transform trauma and tragedies and misery into treasures. And then the second one, actually what connect us, I believe, last year, is to realize that there is a part of grief that words cannot touch, and music and freestyle dancing and movements really helpful in allowing us to reach to that part of grief and release that. And that's when I created Dance Away Sadness, Move Beyond Your Grief, to help us release the part of grief that words cannot touch.
Yes, and can you explain that a little more, just for the people who are listening to this conversation? Because I know you and I have talked about it, but talk about it in a little more in depth.
With Dance Away Sadness. So yeah, absolutely. So when we are grieving, we want to be able to express our grief and to let it flow away from us. And so to help us to recover, to be able to move through our grief with more ease. And that can happen in multiple ways. One way is definitely speaking with, whether a counselor, somebody we trust. And so that's very helpful. And then the other way that a lot of time help for many people is to write, write it in the journal, just write a letter for ourselves, anything with writing. And then creativity, like painting and things like that. But at the same time, there is a part of grief, a lot of times the really deep part of grief, or in grief that is actually, that's been there for a good long time, that decades long, that so deep that you cannot even touch to it, cannot even touch it anymore, and then have tough times kind of putting it in words, kind of those elusive grief, but still haunting you in one way or another. Or for some people, including myself back then, I am not one that can express my feeling back then. I wasn't in touch with my feelings. So that's the other thing too. Some people are not, expressive with their words. And if you had put me in a counselor office, in a psychologist office, and said, hey, let's talk about your grief, I'll just be looking at the person saying, duh. So that's also helpful, where being able to express it in a different way. And we know that music, because music has different vibration, it touches our cells in a different way. It's everything in our body, everything that we see vibrates, right? And so music has different vibrations. So when we listen to music, it touches ourselves. It's help ourselves vibrate in different way. And then also the other important thing is like like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, you know, when we read something or we listen to something, that's something that we remember and it get in our mind. But when we have an impactful experience, such as grief, whatever the cause of the grief, that get to us in a cellular level. Yeah. And so for us to be able to, with more ease and fun, release things that's on our cellular level, we kind of want to move the cells a little bit. So the music, the different vibration from music kind of help the cell move differently than our normal state. And then the movement that we do, the freestyle dancing, so you're not being made to follow something, but it's you are allowed to express what it is in your heart that the music call, that will also, the movement will also allow us to move our grief, the impact on our cellular level a little bit easier. And so it'll help us move through our and beyond our grief a little easier in my experience.
I love that. I just absolutely love that. Let me ask you, how do you determine what music works best for someone? Because I know, you know, working with people, when they come to us, they think that the problem is what they come to us with, but the problem is never the problem. So sometimes, you know, if I would think that if you tell a client that, okay, they're going to do music, and then you let them pick out the music, they might not really know, you know, what's best for them right then, or what they need. Or how do you do that? You do it intuitively? How do you choose that?
A lot of time intuitively. I mean, I would ask people if there is particular music. If you do it one-on-one with me, then I would ask if there is particular music you particularly don't like. You know, playing hip hop on somebody who's you know, highly averse to hip hop's not going to help at all.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, or playing certain, but there are certain, I learned over the years, there are certain type of music that's tolerable to almost everybody. And actually wonderful in helping us move things. Happy music, you know, some of the happier music, certain type of Middle Eastern music is helpful, and then multiple different music. So a lot of time when I do that, depend on the length of the sessions, you usually get to experience multiple different musics. Dance Away Sadness, the full sessions is about 50 minutes, 50 to 60 minutes. And it starts with actually very calm music. We start in almost like a semi-meditations just to help us let go the day and the week and everything we're willing to let go. And then the music will start going more and pick up and then slow down and pick up and slow down. And so that's and then at the end we quiet down again to yeah.
I know for me, there some of the classical music that I listen to, like when you close your eyes and you just know the notes that are coming next, you feel it vibrating in your, like, everything goes up and down as the crescendo, and I don't know what all the notes are called, but you know, it's amazing how music can take you places. But also, I think it's really important to point out here is that music can also always bring you down. We have to be very careful of that, because if you're sad, depressed, lonely, you know, feeling isolated or hopeless, angry, depressed, and then you choose music to match your mood, it's going to keep you in that energy. So that's really important to bring out here too, right?
Oh yes, definitely. It's one of those that, you know, if you don't want to, you want a music that help you achieve your goal and not help you stay in a place you don't want to be. And, you know, it's definitely fine to listen to music that match your mood, but also then you can, it's almost like, you know, when I started Dance Away Sadness start in my bedroom.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
Then so I said, start in my bedroom because I couldn't do it anywhere else in the house, and so it started in my bedroom, and it was a lot of Enya.
Oh, I
That's how,
love her. Yeah.
yeah, and you know how the vibration of her music.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's how then so I said started, and you know, and I intuitively back then know to listen to music that initially match where you're feeling, which was at that time I was pretty darn close to suicidal, and
Yeah.
and then but I intuitively know that I need to feel better and I want to feel better. I decided that I'm going to thrive if I had to stay alive. So and so I will select back the music that match my feeling, but the next one and the next one and the next ones get me out of it. And then when you do dance away sadness in one-on-one in particular, and one-on-one, it can be done remotely, by the way, as well as in person, then it's something that depend on in your state and what's you are facing. Then if what you need, from time to time I have people come to me and say, I have been having these things for the last 30 years, and if what you need is to actually release that, I might actually give you a music that will help you be in touch with that. But then over the next 40 minutes or so, it will help you release that as well.
I was just thinking that, if someone's feeling low or feeling sad or more of a negative feeling, and they're trying to lift their spirits, or they're trying to move out of this low energy feeling, what would be a couple songs that you would say, okay, let's start where you are, and then let's graduate, and keep leveling up in a way that would be gradual and not, like Bach to rock or something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to name a specific song because,
Mm-hmm.
there's multiple different, but I would say start with something that's soothing. Not something depressing, but something that's soothing.
Uh-huh,
A
right.
lot of, actually, a lot of the new age style music, similar to Enya, but doesn't have to be Enya, it's new age style. Some of them are more soothing,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of water style music that's flowing, start with something that, and then it's basically the next one is one octave more, and one octave more, and then one octave more, and then you can do this in a matter of like 4 songs. And when things happening is right now, we don't always want to dance for an hour, but I did it a couple weeks ago when with the coronavirus pandemic that we are on right now. I basically not much of anything bothers me, but then when I realized that, oh my goodness, I'm not because I'm also an essential worker, I'm not going to see my loved one for probably months. It's safer for everybody. And I was like, oh, sucks. I don't like this piece. It's make me sad. And that's what I did. I just start with a music that matched my energy, and then at the time, and then one of something that's a little bit more upbeat, and a little bit more upbeat, and a little bit more upbeat, and it takes 4 or 5 songs, and usually try to listen to something that's fun at the end. My favorite lately for the fun one is to listen to the main theme song of Mamma Mia.
Oh,
Like,
yes, I love
Mamma
that.
Mia, here I
Yes,
go again.
yes, yes.
Yeah. and just be silly, and that's the other thing, is to be willing to just be silly, and the goal is to be able to move this with more ease and more fun, and it's sometimes it's just good to be silly a little bit. So
Oh yeah, I love my music, and I'll put my earphones in and just dance around my room, and it's amazing what it does for you. It's amazing. And I was having a conversation with some friends the other day, and we were talking about the kind of music that we like. And so I said, well, what's on your Spotify favorites type thing? And I said, I don't really know if I want to share what's on mine. And they said, why wouldn't you want to share? And I said, well, because sometimes I think, I really enjoy listening to music that some people would go, why do you listen to that? But, there again, because there's this one song, and it's a country song back when country used to be called hillbilly music. So that tells you how long ago it was. And it's by a female singer. And I have to tell you, when I was going through my divorce, I would play that song over and over and over because it lifted me. It absolutely lifted me out of wherever I was.
Yeah, yeah. So, so yeah, exactly. Everybody like different songs. That's why I don't want to name specific song, because everybody has different tastes. What seems to be a soothing music for me might not be for you just from listening to this. But if you do, the basic concept is you just do that. Start with something that match where you are, and then choose musics that can take you, and a lot of time we are in our heads so much
Yes.
that we try to think, oh, what's good, but if we just allow ourselves even just 30 seconds, actually, it doesn't have to be a 30-minute meditations, but when we are doing something like this, when we're navigating through grief, if we allow ourselves just some 30 seconds to just tune in and say, okay, what's good for me right now? A lot of time the answer will come from our heart, and we just need to learn to trust that.
Yes, it's all about going inward, isn't it? I mean, I say that over and over and over to people. It's like the most powerful journey you can ever take is the journey inward.
Yes.
And it's sometimes I've had some pushback on it, people say, I don't know if that's all it could be, And I said, well, quite honestly, it's not, that's all it can be. First of all, it's not as easy as it sounds. We think it's easy to just struggle and to not be happy because we get in a habit of that. And when things are going on outside of our control and we're feeling fearful, we think it's so much easier just to give into the fear. It makes so much sense to be fearful and give into the fear. And then we start going down that rabbit hole of fear-based thoughts and ideas. And there has to be a point, when we say to ourselves, okay, I don't want to keep going in that direction. I want to hit the reverse button and turn this thing around. So yes, definitely music is so, so wonderful. And I love that you decided that you wanted to stay here, that you wanted to find a way to find your happy place, to realize why you're so fantastic. And now you are sharing that with others. You're inspiring, empowering, and motivating others. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're like the poster child for what this channel is all about.
Thank you. It's all about choice, and we choose at the end of the day, things could happen. We could have history. And at the same time, history doesn't make us. It's what we do and what we choose and act accordingly to it. We can choose something, but if we choose to thrive, but we go and hide under the blanket and refuse to get out, it's not going to get us anywhere. Like Jim Carrey said, you cannot vision and then go sit in the couch and eat a sandwich and do nothing else. But if we choose and then we act accordingly, then we will reach what what we would want to achieve.
Absolutely. So I know that you have a book, Seeking Peace. Can you talk about that?
Oh, thank you. Yes, absolutely. So the book will be available starting the end of May this year, starting the end of May 2020. And it's called Seeking Peace, the Proven 5 Fingers Method to Thrive Through Change Effortlessly. And so change is something that we all face in our life. Life is about change, and sometimes we go through enough change such that it's impactful to us. So right now, you and I, Nancy, is in the change called coronavirus pandemic, where the world for many people seems to have turned upside down. And so And any change in our life, any change in our daily routine that can cause enough stress to us can actually cause grief. And so seeking peace is to help us move and navigate, to help us navigate through that change with a lot more ease and a lot more and fun as well, to do them effortlessly and come out a winner. Such that it, we'll be able to thrive through the change, as well as and change is, sometimes we want to just push it away.
Yes.
Want to just run from it, but a lot of time changes happen because it carries some learning in it. And then the other thing is, a lot of time changes happen because there is a seed of good in there. And so what seeking peace do is to help us to understand what's going on and teach the skills, the simple skills and tool. And it's a 5 fingers, because I would, when we're going through a lot of things, it's challenging to remember things. And so the 5 fingers is the 5 basic principles in seeking peace. It's a step-by-step process. That's basically, one of the reviewers said, it's like a roadmap.
Awesome.
That help us be able to navigate through our dark valley and be able and come out from that with more ease and come out a winner.
I love it. I love it. And I love the title, Seeking Peace, because when you just say those 2 words, I'm seeking peace, rather than try to put too much on yourself all at one time and say, I'm trying to feel better, I'm trying to be happy, I'm trying to not be so, negative. Instead, if you shift it to those 2 words or 3 words, I'm seeking peace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's just, it right there, it tells you everything that you're doing, everything that you're choosing is because you're on the path of seeking peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of your soul. Mm-hmm. And when you are centered and peaceful, it has a ripple effect to those around you. And, it has a really good feeling for me. I really feel that vibrationally.
Thank you. Yeah, and it is something, like you said, it's very important for us to just be honest to ourselves, really, and say, okay, that's what I need right now and where I need to start. With social media is great and wonderful in many ways, but sometimes it's all about, okay, you got to be brave right now. You should never be feeling fear right now. Well, if you think about it, fear is good for us, actually.
Yes.
I was sharing on my page the other day. I used to have a cat that had no fear at all to fire.
Oh dear.
So this cat, I would jump up on the stove with the stove on. I was fearful for the cat.
Yes.
It's like fear's here meant to protect us. Back from the time we were, living in the cave. If we have no fear, we will be eaten by a large animal, right?
Exactly.
And so fear is good for us. What we want to do is we want to be able to have fear without fear having us.
Yes.
And so that's something that, and we want to be able to be honest to ourselves, like you said, okay, right now I'm fearful, right now I'm discouraged, right now I don't have peace of mind, and I'm going to seek way such that I will be able to be in that state that I would love to be.
I love that. I wrote that down. Fear without fear having us. That's like a tweetable comment, because, yes, anyone who says, well, I want to live my life without fear, totally without fear, well, you're not being realistic, because there has to be a yin and yang for everything, an opposite for everything. We have to know one thing in order to experience another thing, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You
cannot have rainbow
without the rain.
Without the rain, without storm.
Yes.
And sometimes the darker, a lot of time, the darker the storm, the more beautiful the rainbow. It was raining and having a lot of storm a couple weeks ago in here, strangely enough. But after that, actually, the next day, I saw double rainbow. Isn't that so amazing with life? So.
And there are so many blessings that are happening right now. And, when people can really just see this as the storm, you can tell
Mhm.
yourself like, oh, okay, so every storm passes. And I was on a webinar a couple weeks ago, and the one of the leaders in the webinar was talking about, she lives in Florida, and every year they have hurricane season. So they just know that when hurricane season comes around, they, get provisions and they prepare, and they're prepared. But because they know that this is something they're going through, and how they go through it is how they're going to come out on the other side. And I really like that analogy, because that is the same with anything. Be prepared, do the best that you can, and then when it's over, look for the rainbow, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So be prepared, and and just like with earthquake, you want to be prepared ahead of time, not when the earthquake happen. Then it's yes, it's better than it's better than nothing, but it's good to be able to be prepared ahead of time. And so learn the life skills and tools. The best time to learn about life skills and tools is actually when you have the opportunity to learn it, not
Right.
when your life upside down. And so that and that's something that nowadays available widely in every places too.
And it's like, those of us who live in California, we know, when an earthquake comes, this is what we do, and we prepare, and we go through it. And then when we are done going through it, we put it behind us. But you can't live in fear of like, what if today, what if today, what if today? So it's about always looking for, the rainbow. I guess that's what's coming to me right now, is looking for the rainbow, that the coming out of it.
Yeah, exactly. We life is life. We life full of changes, and we go through things. That's just part of life. Because if you don't have if you never taste any you don't have any darkness, you wouldn't even have a concept of what light is.
Right.
And so it's just part of life. It's almost like, to me, it's like kids on a swing, right?
True.
Up and down and up and down. But that is our life. Sometimes we are on the upswing and sometimes we are on the downswing. And what we want to remember is, we don't let ourselves, we choose not to let ourselves stay in the downswing.
Yes. And, it's been a while since I've been on a swing, but I do know that, whether you're going up or whether you're coming down, you're still going through that. And both are pretty phenomenal experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
So, when you, um, devised or came out with or thought up or formulated, the Dance Away Your Sadness, um, what was the turning point for you where you said, music is really doing it for me, and I think I can help others do this? How did you make that leap?
I think it's all came about the same times, which is, I decided that at some point, when I look back and I say, what I was speaking with my mentor, and I look back and I said, wow, look where I was only 2.5, 3 years ago, and where I am now. And then I realized at the time that I've been given a great gift. That's when I said, and I have many clients. Being an oncologist, I have many clients that's also over the years, they say, yeah, you know what, this is not something I just can't talk about this to anybody. And so and I had my own experience. So I think just the turning point to realize that I've been given such a great gift, and people deserve to have that gift. The great gift is to be shared and not kept to oneself. And so I just decided to start doing doing Dance Away Sadness. Just tried it out and see if it helps people, and over time it seems it's just grow itself and help more and more people. And then at the beginning, I didn't even realize actually that it's actually amazingly good in helping people with a lot of buried grief. I think because
Yeah.
of the energy vibrations that we talk about. I wasn't even thinking about that, and so at the beginning, and it's like, oh wow, it's really good for that, and then it helps, and it's in such a way when people think about dance away sadness. That's one thing. A lot of people think, oh, I need to be able to be to have the stamina to jump around or anything like that, but it's not even that. It's any movement that you want, and even if that is just tapping your fingers and moving your feet, it still helps, because I've done dance away the way sadness in cancer center, and some of the people going through treatment are too tired to do anything but lying down in there. But it's just the music, and dance away sadness is a combination of music and your choice of movement and coaching with me. And so it's basically an hour of coaching, music, and movement. And so between the combinations of those, even the one who people just say, you know, I have people who close to being quadriplegic coming in, and they still find it helpful. But how I decide, I think just one day I came to a realization, and very grateful. I'm very grateful of everything that I went through, that brings me to where I was back then. And I said, you know, if I gain so much from this, it is some time to give back. And I continue to be very grateful for everything that had happened in my life.
You know what really excites me about the story that you shared in your journey is that, well, we've all heard that music moves the soul, and music can, change you and change the vibration and change it. The way that you're doing it, the way that you're offering it, it's not something that I had heard of in the way that you're doing it before I met you. And the fact that it helped you so much, and that you believed in yourself so much that you said, this helped me, and now I know I can go on and help others, even though it wasn't something that was generally known, you persevered and you kept going and you kept doing it. And now all of the people that have benefited because of your desire to live, your desire to pay it forward, I just feel like your work is such a blessing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you.
Yes, I love it. So, Birgitte, can you tell people how to get a hold of you if they want to connect with you and learn more about, dancing away your sadness? Let them know where to find you. Where do you hang out?
Multiple places. I'm all over the place. So to find out more about Dance Away Sadness, you can go to Dance Away Sadness webpage, which is danceawaysadness.com. The rest of my work is in my website, From Grieving to Joyful Living. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn, Birgitte Tan. You can find me on Facebook, Birgitte Tan, or From Grieving to Joyful Living on Facebook as well. And then the same thing, Birgitte Tan is on YouTube as well. So you can find me on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and directly at the website, From Grieving to Joyful Living, where you will receive on the website, and you can sign up, as well as you'll see that there are a lot of resources in there, sample of Dance Away Sadness, and then sample and also actually a lot of different things like interview like this, or me just sharing and doing 5 to 15 minutes of inspirational, empowering, and teaching videos. It's full of that on the website, articles, and many other resources.
I love it. Thank you. You're everywhere. You're over all social medias, so I love it. Do you also are you also on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram. Yes, I'm on Instagram as well.
Okay, so there you go. You just look for Birgitte on any of your favorite social medias, and if you're feeling like you need to lift your energy, lift your spirits, I mean, I just feel like you can't go wrong, to connect with you. And I really hope that those of you that are watching this video If you were drawn to it at the beginning, because as I said, you know, if you're looking for something to lift your spirits, I really, really hope that you take this into consideration, what we talked about. Because when you're in that energy, when you're feeling low energy, you're vibrating low and you're in that slump, it can be it can be habit forming.
Yeah.
And just like being happy can be habit forming, being angry or in a low energy vibration can be habit forming as well. So whatever our go-to habit is, our go-to thought, our go-to feeling, we create habits around that. And when something comes up in our life, whether negative or positive, that's our go-to feeling. So this is such a great way to raise that.
Well, there is, and actually, if you don't mind, there is one story that I have.
Sure.
That can help you, you know, when you are in that low energy state, so to say, because sometimes it's easy to be there. That can help us to kind of, you know, get out of it. Because sometimes we say we want to get out of it, but it's not always that easy, right? But so the story is, there was a couple, and this was back then before cell phones everywhere, and so this was quite a few decades ago. There was a couple who has an only child, a girl, and then the daughter's grown up, and it's time for her to go to college. And so and the girl wanted to go on out of state college. So they took the girl and to the college, you know, freshmen, set her up in the dormitory, in the dorm room, and everything wonderful and everything great. And the girl would write to them once a week. And things goes well, and they came in for homecoming, and it's great. They meet her friends, she's happy. And then not long after that, she stopped writing. Before that, she was writing once a week, but then she stopped writing, and they were like, well, maybe she's busy. And then weeks goes by, and she's not writing, and they got worried, and they tried to call, but she's not answering their call either. And they got really worried. And then one day, they got a letter from her. And so they look at and they open the letter, and the letter said, "Dear Mom and Dad, I'm sorry I have not written for some times. You see, there was a dorm fire, and all my belongings got destroyed, and the smoke damaged my eyes, so I'm completely blind. Because I need help, I have moved in with my boyfriend, John. You met him during homecoming, and you love him very much. And I know how much you love to have grandchild. And I have great news for you. John and I are expecting our first baby together." And the letter continued, "Please forgive me in this practice of English composition. There was no dorm fire. My eyes perfectly fine, and I'm not pregnant. But I do receive a D in English and an F in French. Everything is perspective. Everything
Exactly.
is perception. So
Yes.
sometimes things can be seemingly to be so super dark. But if we just want to take a deep breath and realize that we still have a roof over our head, and we still have clothing on our body.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
And just be thankful for the blessings that we have. And actually, I want to take that word "just" out, not just be thankful, but be thankful for the blessings that we have. Yeah. And I think that's a great distinction right there, because when we say just be thankful, it kind of feels like we're being forced to be thankful when we feel like we should be having more or something different. So it's about living in the now. It's about paying attention to where you're vibrating now. And when you hear news, like in your story, that sounds devastating, or maybe someone hasn't talked to you for a while, and you start to have feelings and thoughts of, oh my gosh, is this person mad at me? Is this person, start from perfect and go from there instead of trying to work up to perfect. And just, when you can shift your thinking that way, start from perfect. Everything's perfect. Everything's wonderful. Let's see what else we can bring into our lives. Right. That is a great energy, a great energy level, and a great place to vibrate on.
Yeah. So
So Brigitte, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope that you really enjoyed this conversation between Brigitte and I. If you like this conversation, subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, let people know, because I really want this to be a place where people can turn when they're looking for answers, or they're feeling lost, or you're going through your own dark night of the soul and you feel like you just can't take one more step. Or as Brigitte said, she just felt like, you know, she didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring. And this is a place where you can come and hear actual stories from people who have gone through their own dark night of the soul. And now that they've come out on the other side, how they're using their experience to inspire, motivate, and empower others. So please share this. This is a great opportunity for us to continue to vibrate on a very, very high energetic level and work collectively to bring peace and light into this world. In the meantime, this is Nancy Mueller saying ciao for now.